Hey, how's it going out there today, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day. It's weekly recap time. So this week that I'm explaining here is from January 29th, which is a Friday, to February 5th. And I was home for a couple days on this week. Not a very big week. I did 2 loads. Let's get to it. I want to talk about a few things before we get into the numbers of this week. So my truck was in the shop, and I put my truck in the shop the Wednesday before and took off a couple days. Truck still wasn't ready Friday, and here is what I want to talk to you about. I took a loaner truck from the carrier I'm leased to. Some carriers have trucks that they let you borrow. You know, my carrier's got a few just sitting around the yard. You know, they're maybe not the greatest trucks, but they're legal. And, you know, it may have 1.6 million miles on them. I borrowed one truck from them one time. I had 1.6 million miles on a Volvo. The truck they let me borrow this time was actually pretty nice. It was a 2016 Cascadia. And there, guys, it's not always the worst thing in the world to be leased to a carrier. I know a lot of people think the only way to live is to get your own authority. And if that's the way you want to live that way. But I'm telling you, you don't always make more money having your own authority. I know a lot of people tell me, oh, you're giving your carrier this much money. You're paying your carrier this much money. Let me break that down for you real quick. Different carriers have different types of freight. You know, like, and the way I explain this is, if you're one truck, one trailer, you don't go to Craft and say, hey, I want to pull 200 loads a week. It takes a mega carrier to do that. So mega carrier gets that freight. So where I'm at, some of the freight we haul will not ever make it to the load board. Most of the loads that I pull out of Minnesota never see a load board. They come straight in via email to the carrier I'm leased to. We pick the loads we want off of those emails. Those are called preferred emails or preferred broker list. So if you're pulling load board freight all the time, you may not be getting to some of the best freight. I'm just saying. Sometimes when it's up, you're riding high, but not always. So when you think, you know, well, I don't want to lease on somewhere and pay them 20% or give up 20% of the revenue I generate to them, just remember this. I keep very good track of the load board, and I also keep very good track of the freight that I haul. And the freight I haul is typically, especially coming out of Minnesota, Wisconsin, where we got a lot of contacts, it's typically 5 to 10% better paying freight. Never touches the load board. So instead of giving up 20%, now I'm making 10% more. So really, I'm only giving up like 10% to pull someone else's trailer, have them do all the legwork for me. You're not always making more with your own authority. I hear this a lot with Landstar. I hear lots and lots, and I'm not leased to Landstar. I'm leased to an 80-20 split carrier. Small carrier in Minnesota. I really enjoy working with them. They're near my house, so I can park my truck there. A lot of benefits. They got a shop, whatnot. So anyway, I hear a lot of people people talk about Landstar say, oh, it's 65% you get, they get 35%. Number one, if you think that way, you're probably not, you probably don't know about fuel surcharge, because it's not a 6,500 even split on that. And Landstar's a good example of this, and this is why I bring them up, because Landstar has a lot of freight that you can't get to that pays really good. If you're working the DAT load board or the truck stop or the 123 load board. So they're getting better paying freight. So yeah, they're giving up a good percentage, but it really equalizes out a little bit when you realize they got better paying freight. I'm just saying, that's kind of how it is where I'm at. Because I've had a lot of people in the recent past tell me, oh, you should get your own authority. You're wasting 20% of your revenue. Okay, well, here's the thing. If I'm hauling better paying freight, that cuts into that 20%. I'm getting and then therefore you think of what I'm getting for the other 10% of I'm giving up. It's quite a bit. Like being able to use a loaner truck. Instead of sitting at the house, all this revenue and all this I'm fixing to go over right now would have not happened. I would have been sitting at the house waiting on my truck to come out of the shop. I'm back in my truck now. Thanks everybody for asking about it and the concern. I appreciate all you guys. It really does feel like we're building a family here, and I appreciate everybody. This truck was in the shop. I had an issue with the data link cable and the log. We couldn't figure it out, so we took it up to a Freightliner dealer, had them sort it out. Boy, was that expensive, having Freightliner sort out an electrical issue. It seems everything's doing fine now, so we got our money's worth. While I had it in there, when I had them do a clutch adjustment and a transmission service, this truck was about 25,000 miles overdue on a transmission service. So I went ahead and had them do it while it was in there. You know, I don't like to let things go over. And that one, it was just one of those things where I wasn't paying attention good enough like I should have been. I'll take that one. So it was over by about 25,000. So I went ahead and got that done, got the clutch adjusted. Seems like we're doing good now. But you think about that, if you're one man, one truck, and your truck breaks down, okay? My truck started acting funny on the side of pulling out of a truck stop. Got on the freeway, got up to highway speeds, and then it started acting all crazy. I pulled over on the side of the road. Now, I'm 30 minutes from a delivery at Costco. Instead of, like, if you're one man, one truck, you're out there on your own. So you got to deal with that. Me, I'm 30 minutes from Costco. I'm like 100 miles from our shop, our yard. I called a yard. I called the boss and said, hey, truck's shorting out. Can you bring me another truck? No problem. No problem. Sent a driver right out there with another truck. Now, while I was waiting on them to come bring me the other truck, what we were going to do is hook a chain to this truck, pull it out from underneath the trailer, call a tow truck to come get it, and I was going to back the other truck underneath my trailer and run in and deliver that load. Now, fortunately, while I was waiting on them to get there, I cranked this truck and messed with it. It was a little bit of an electrical issue, so eventually after I cranked it and tried it and cranked it and tried it, turned it off, reset the computer and everything, finally it went into gear and it started doing what it needed to do. So fortunately we dodged that bullet, but instead of sitting on the side of the road wondering what am I going to do, I've got a load on this truck that's got to be delivered. I didn't have to worry about none of it. So just keep that in mind. There are benefits to running for a carrier, leasing on somewhere. My opinion, my approach is if you're going to build a fleet, if you're going to add on trucks, you want to buy more trucks, you want to lease on trucks, get your own authority. If you're going to be one man, one truck, I recommend leasing to a good small carrier that has something to offer you, okay? That's my opinion on it. Take it for what you will, do what you want. That's how I see it. I'm just trying to provide a little insight, on what I've done. Because a lot of people, they'll get in here and tell you, oh, don't do this, don't do that, but they've never done this and they've never done that, It's like a lot of people on YouTube will say, oh, don't get a CB, but they've never had a CB. They don't know what it's like to have one and not have one, So I'm not that guy. I've had my own authority and I've been leased on to a carrier. So I've seen it from both sides. That's my opinion. That's my take on it. Now that I've done all that due diligence there, let's get on to talking about some numbers. So with the old loaner truck, so this truck, for you guys that don't know, I name all my trucks after women. I named this truck Betty White, because it's white, and I named it Betty, and then I thought about it. I was like, it's a white truck. I named it Betty White. So I called my loaner truck was Fetty White. Fetty White. I took Fetty White down to Georgia, grabbed a refrigerated dairy load right there out of Minnesota, going down to Atlanta area, right outside of Atlanta. $4,300 money on that load. 40,000 pounds, 42 degrees start and stop. It was more of a keep it cool, don't let it freeze. So we decided on 42 degrees. And that's how we done it. 65 miles of deadhead on that one, 1123 on the loaded, 1,188 total miles on that situation. Second load coming back up out of Georgia back to Minnesota. Now, for you guys that are new, that's what I try to do. I go from Minnesota back to Minnesota, from Minnesota back to Minnesota. It gets me home to see the family a lot. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I've done a 34-hour restart every week since Christmas, except for one at the house. That's how I like to run it. Run it out, run it back, run it out, run it back. Working on the same system right now this week. So I think that's a good way for me to do OTR. If I have to stay out 2 or 3 weeks without going home, I can do it. but I prefer to get through there more often, and it really doesn't cut into my money because I'm just going there and back, so I'm always there. Load back to Georgia, pulled a load up out of Dalton, Georgia. Oh, if you can guess, it was flooring. Believe it or not, they do flooring in Dalton, Georgia. That's usually what I'm looking for if I'm in the Atlanta. Sometimes even if I'm all the way down in Florida, I'll deadhead all the way up to that area. Those flooring loads, they pay okay. They're kind of heavy, but honestly, out of that area, they're some of the better loads in my opinion. And you know, the farther north I can go and still get a decent rate back to Minnesota, the better, because I ain't pulling no weight. On that one, we ran that one from Dalton, Georgia, back up to the Costco, new Costco in Owatonna, Minnesota. Man, is that place nice. Oh, I'm so glad they built that. That's not far from my house. You know, probably within 70, 80 miles of there. Man, that is money. There are loads all over this country going back up there. I never have trouble finding a load back to Owatonna. So, 81 miles of deadhead from Atlanta area back up to Dalton. And that was 964 loaded miles, Dalton to Owatonna. For 1,045 total miles, $1,900 on that load. 35,000 pound load, dry load, no reefer on that one, so that was a little bit of a bonus. Total numbers on the week, let's talk big money. I don't know. It's not, I mean, I look at weeks like this as great weeks for me. I don't know how y'all look at it. It's not the biggest revenue of the week. It probably won't generate a lot of clicks on my thumbnail, but it's because it's not a huge number. But boy, I love weeks like this. $6,200 total revenue. It's nothing to sneeze at. That's, you know, if you do that every week, that's like $300,000 a year gross. No bad. So I'm on an 80-20 split. That's $6,200 worth of revenue I generated. $4,960 of that comes to my business, to the truck, because I'm at 80% of that. 2,233 total miles for the week, all in. Great low mileage, easy running week. You know, took my time going down, took my time coming back, didn't sit at the house for 2 days. I love weeks like that. 146 deadhead miles this week. That's 6% deadhead for the week. That's pretty good. That's a good target range. I like to be under 10, so 6 is really good for me. That's 2,087 loaded miles. So just to let you know on the loaded miles, that is $2.78 all miles to the carrier. That is $2.22 a mile generated to the truck, all miles. Loaded miles, $2.97 loaded miles. Boy, that's a great rate. I hope we can keep these rates going for forever, basically. The costs were low on the week, which made it even. That's why another reason I said it was a great week. $838 in diesel I spent on this, and that's a lot for me. That loaner truck did not get as good a fuel mileage as this truck does. You know, it needed a tune-up, it sounded like to me. It needed an air filter, it needed a few things, but it's a loaner truck. You know, most people ride them hard and bring them back with empty fuel, which I try not to do. I bring them back, you know, same amount of depth, same amount of fuel. You know, close to half a tank maybe. You know, I don't want to be ungrateful, you know, and run all the fuel out of it, bring it back on empty, and then be like, here, screw the next guy, you know. But 838 in diesel, that's a little high. I was doing pretty good on mud flap. That fuel was bought in Minnesota. That fuel was bought, the majority of that fuel was bought in Illinois. I bought 100 gallons in Minnesota. I bought 170 gallons in Illinois. And I bought 100 gallons in Iowa, on the way back in Iowa. So the majority of that was bought right there in Illinois in the middle of the trip. So check out Mud Flap, guys, down in the description. It's a good product. Check out Mud Flap, save on fuel. That's what I did. That big fill up there in Illinois was at the Farmer City Casey's General Store. So got a good price on that. Let's see what else here. All right, I'm done with my Mud Flap promos. check out the promo. Sign up with my promo. Now I'm done with them. $838 in diesel, $39 in reefer. Start and stop load going down. Had it on the trailer for 2 days, and then dry load coming back. Money. $40 in DEF. That truck was like almost out of DEF when I picked it up, so I just went ahead and filled it up. No scales. Because last week I was pulling a trailer, my trailer I've been pulling for a couple weeks. It has a scale on the trailer, and I have a scale on my truck. Now I'm pulling a new trailer right now. I switched trailers. I don't have a scale on that trailer, but it does have super singles, so I wanted that. So, let's see, no tolls, and no parking. So, boy, we kept it down there. So $917 in total variable expenses, and you bring over the $4,960 I generated to the truck, subtract the $917 in variable cost, and that leaves $4,043 for me to do what I got to do with. I take a week like that every week, honestly. That's bank right there. Nice little 2233 total miles. Oh, it was money. Like 400 mile days and 2 days at the house. Oh, love it. Love it. All right, guys, that's it for the week. Good week. Loaner truck action. All was well. All was well. Got my truck back. Had to pay a little bit more than I wanted to work out that electrical issue. But at the end of the day, it's all done. We're all good, and we're back to we never stopped making money. So can't beat that. I'm out of here, guys. Take care of each other. Hit the like, share, subscribe, ring that bell, do all that fun stuff for me. Check out one of these other videos that pops up here too if you want to keep watching Cash Man. Later.